1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000, 6 1000, 7 1000. That was 7 seconds. That's how long the average pilot takes to respond when an emergency happens. 7 seconds. That's quite a long time to respond. In an emergency situation, you need to be prepared to respond immediately. Surviving an emergency starts with planning on the ground before one ever occurs. Brief your co-pilot and passenger before the flight, and if an emergency does occur, don't panic. Fly the airplane first. Aviate, navigate, communicate. Use checklists if possible, but don't read a checklist into the ground. Here are 5 emergency procedures that every pilot should know. Let's say your alternator fails. Are you going to fall out of the sky? No. Could this become a serious emergency? Yes. Let's say your alternator fails at night in IMC. This is very serious and potentially deadly. If you get a low voltage indication, start by reducing the electrical load and use the checklist. It could be something as simple as a popped circuit breaker or having to reset the voltage regulator on the alternator side of the master switch. If your alternator does fail, in most aircraft the battery takes over, but it won't last forever. Fly the plane and follow the checklist. It's always a good idea to fly with a handheld radio and have the numbers saved in your phone for the local tower, center, and approach in the event you need to get in contact with them. First things first, turn off the fuel, mixture cutoff, fuel shutoff valve if it has one. If you have a fire, the first thing you have to do is stop feeding the fire and land quickly. You should be prepared to make a forced landing. There are 2 types of engine fires, electrical fires and fuel fires. Electrical fires generally cause white smoke, while fuel and engine fires are more difficult to detect and can cause black smoke. Our sport cruisers come with an optional BRS parachute. If your aircraft is equipped with a ballistic parachute, it is your responsibility to know how your parachute works and when to use it. Not every emergency requires a parachute deployment. There are many variables involved, but we recommend that as long as you have positive control of the aircraft, to keep flying the plane. When you pull the chute, you're giving away your control. Wouldn't you rather be in control, even if that means an emergency landing? Only pull the handle if you have lost complete control of the aircraft, a catastrophic situation, such as a flight control failure. However, if you do lose an engine, pitch for best glide, and have your selected landing area made, you should continue to fly and land the airplane. That being said, parachutes save lives. It is your responsibility to know whether to deploy a BRS parachute or not. We know the ABCs of an engine failure: airspeed, best place to land, checklist. We pitch for our best glide, find the best place to land, and lastly, we use the checklist and try to restart the aircraft. You have to ask yourself, how much time do I have? What phase of flight did the engine quit? In some instances, we'll have a lot of time. Sometimes we'll have very little. There isn't always time for a checklist when you're only a few hundred feet above the ground. If your engine fails on takeoff, the first thing you have to do is check your altitude. Depending on the aircraft, if you're above 1,000 feet, you can turn back to the runway. However, you do have to react immediately. There can be no delay if you're anywhere near 1,000 feet. If it's going to take you longer to react or you're below 1,000 feet, most people say land straight ahead. That's not always the best choice. Look ahead, but also look 30 degrees to your left and 30 degrees to your right. That's your window. Have any questions about these procedures or suggestions of your own? Comment down below. We'd love to hear about any experiences or advice you might have. Thanks for watching and take care.